Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or in the Blind Forest fans across the world. I am so happy to see all of you here in chat, ready for yet another day of very, very exciting all skills action. I am the Roos is Loose, joined on commentary this morning by Yoko. How are you doing today, Yoko?
I'm doing great, Roos. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Really excited to see this, and I think this is a cool time to get started off. It's kind of an EU-friendly time. A lot of our races tend to be very late at night, so I know a lot of our EU viewers have been losing a lot of sleep because of how hyped this tournament has been.
Yeah, we have about 7 hours of Ori today, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe we have a total of 8 matches, which is really, really cool. So if you're here for Ori and the Blind Forest, you're in the right place. Starting us off is going to be Terra21 versus Oshi. This is going to be a really cool match. As you can see, Oshi is 1-0. Terra has not played a match yet. These two are pretty much going to be fighting for that first place spot, most likely, just given difference in PBs between them and the other two. So Terra has a really strong incentive to want to win this, as does Oshi. If you look at their stats there, you can see Terra with a very, very strong 31-22 PB. Oshi also with a very strong 33-16. That margin is definitely small enough that we could see an upset here. So tell me a little bit more about these runners, Yoko.
Well, they both have different input methods which could affect their time, but not that much. We have Terra on hybrid, which is basically using controller and keyboard and mouse. And we got Oshi using straight up keyboard and mouse.
Yeah,
They,
and I believe Terra separates the game. He does controller up until bash, and then after bash, he uses the keyboard and the mouse. So that's pretty much going to negate the small disadvantages that controllers have at a few parts of the run. You can see that they're both going for all the tricks. And as far as health cells, Terra looks like he'll be getting a total of 5. He may opt for 6 for race safety. We'll see. Oshi gets 6 and takes the spider health cell before Sorrow Pass, which gives an extra hit of safety on those very deadly Sorrow Pass spikes.
yeah, that extra house cell just makes Sarbash a little bit easier, a little more safer.
And looks like in our miscellaneous stats, we actually have a waifu battle here. Terra repping Maki from Love Live, and Oshi going after Oshawott from Pokemon, I want to say.
Yeah, I believe so.
And Oshi uses default keybinds, which is very, very unusual. Pretty much everybody who uses keyboard and mouse has their own keybind custom setup. Looks like we are about to get started here. Very exciting race coming up. So, for those of you, if this is your first time joining us, this is Ori and the Blind Forest All Skills. The rules for this category are there are 11 skills that must be acquired in the game before you can finish. Each of those skills gives us new abilities which we didn't have before and will unlock increasingly larger areas of the game that we can go to.
Yeah, so runners are going to start off pretty close here, and they're going to pick up their first ability, Spirit Flame.
Yes, and Spirit Flame is just sort of our basic attack. It allows the players to plink away with some little lasers. It doesn't do a ton of damage, but thanks to some optimal mashing, or in the case of Oshi, probably using a scroll wheel on the mouse, you can kind of get as much damage per second out of that attack as possible, and will let us get through a couple of fights we have to do in this run very quickly. And you see here they are coming up to their sign ability, and will immediately have to fight a forced fight against 3 Frankie enemies, which they should have no trouble handling at this level of experience.
Yeah. Also, you can see that both runners have no UI on, which saves a little bit of time over the run because it allows no text boxes to pop up. And it just saves them not too much time, but...
And Oshi has just a little bit more trouble with the fight there. It looked like a couple of his lasers were slightly out of range, so he drops a couple of seconds versus Terra there. Nothing too big to be concerned about. Ori and the Blind Forest is a very volatile game with huge time swings based on any mistakes that either of the players make. I'll be interested to see how Terra is able to handle sort of the tournament pressure of this run, because he recently ran this game and this exact category at AGDQ 2018. And so he's played this exact run on a huge stage very recently. I wonder if that will give him an advantage in being able to calm his nerves down. And so far, it looks like it is. He's playing very cleanly. Now, both players are going to be moving to set up their ghost door to skip the animation of this door opening here, manipulating their health down to 1 so they can take this intentional death quickly. Terra gets through very nice and cleanly and is on to the 4th health cell up here, which he's going to take for some extra safety. Expect to see Oshi do the same, just a few seconds behind here. All right, nicely done from them both, and they will now be continuing on to the next skill of the game, which is wall jump. Wall jump is just kind of a basic vertical movement ability where you can get on walls and hop upwards, and that's going to be used quite extensively throughout the rest of the run until we gain access to some late game movement abilities. But for now, this is going to be our primary method of moving upwards. And they'll just have a few more little obstacles to dodge here on their way down. You'll see Terra is going to be very closely routing his experience and picking up just a little bit extra that he needs there so that he can take this intentional timed level up on the flower here. You'll notice the level up makes this large energy wave goes out. It pops all of those brambles so he won't have to take time to shoot those later on the way out. Looks like Oshi on your right-hand screen will be doing his level up on the way out instead of the way in. Not a whole lot of time difference between the two. Some players prefer one or the other, just because it changes the experience you'll generally get on for later sections of the run. But both are completely fine.
So both runners now picking up a wall jump, and they're going to instantly be using it to get their 2nd energy cell on this left wall.
Yeah, it's a well-designed game in the sense that because all of the new skills we get will vastly increase our movement abilities, the game is very good about immediately giving you sort of a little trial by fire tutorial on how that ability works. So if you get wall jump, you're immediately going to have to do some wall jumps. If you get double jump, you're immediately going to have to do some double jumps. That's just how they designed the areas. And so you get a lot of interesting wall jumps on the way out here. And our players are now going to be headed towards a new area of the game that was added in the definitive edition. Definitely hard pressed to call it a fan favorite because it is a bit of it's both a difficult area and it's kind of hard to go fast because it has a lot of strict cycles based on moving platforms that you can't really speed up. So there's a lot of sitting around and waiting for cycles to finish. And they'll be getting there shortly. Terra on the left-hand side is now entering Blackroot Burrows. He's going to do a glitch on this save well here, where he opens up this ability menu, which is used to level up certain skill upgrades, and he's going to glitch the game to let him move in the back, start this cutscene, and he spends a point, and that has the effect of saving the game. Then he's going to exit and reload, and because this cutscene is started, and he loads back in, the game thinks that the cutscene has already finished playing, and he's able to skip on. That glitch is going to be used very extensively throughout the rest of the run. And Oshi just a few steps behind, maybe 5 seconds or so is the delta. Not much at all. The first one of these runners to make a significant mistake is definitely going to be kicking themselves because this is a very close race so far.
Yeah, all the spikes here in Blackroot Burrows are one shot, one kill. So if you fall, you got to go all the way back up to the start and redo the treacherous journey.
You can see Terra working on some precise wall jumps here to get up to this experience orb. This level up is needed to give us an ability to skip a cutscene at the end of Blackroot Burrows here. He gets up to there, I think that was a second try, and is now going to be doing some precarious jumps across some spikes and dodging fireballs on his way. This is another one of those strict cycles because once he arrives here, he has to wait for these lasers, but looks like he's got a pretty good cycle here. Those lasers will kill him in one hit, so definitely worth being careful here to not have to go all the way back to the beginning of Blackroot because, well, not the beginning of Blackroot. They dropped the save after their level up, but still, large section of time loss. And they're now on the same bobbing platforms here. This is excellent. Very, very close race. I'm glad to see this.
So now we just got some more waiting on cycles. And after that, they're going to perform another cutscene skip, which releases the light back into Blackroot Burrows. So now it's not as scary when traversing it.
Yeah, and they're going to be coming up to our third skill of the run, which is Dash. You want to tell us a little bit about how Dash works, Yoko?
Dash makes us go very fast. It saves a lot of time over the original version of Ori. Even though there's more skills, 2 more skills in this game, it still saves so much more time.
Yeah, and dash is really sort of the backbone of how a lot of this run works now in the Definitive Edition. Not only because the skill itself is so fast, but it can be upgraded in a few key ways that'll allow us to go just absolutely breakneck speed, and is a huge part of what makes this run so exciting to watch in the second half. So you can see both of our players are in a cutscene and spend that point to glitch out and not have to watch the second half of it coming up to the dash tree themselves. Again, only a few seconds apart. Big props to Oshi. It's a bit of a meme in the Ori community that Terra is known for his clean early game, and you know, even though there's plenty of other runners with very clean early games, it is definitely still true that Terra has good early game movement, and for Oshi to be cleanly keeping up and only a step or two behind definitely bodes well for how Oshi will be doing in this run, I think.
So you can see on the right side, Oshi changed their color to purple doing a special code. It is allowed in runs as it does not affect the gameplay whatsoever.
So if you direct your attention to the left-hand side, you can see Terra and now Oshi are baiting this frog along with them. They're going to be using this to open a door that is a sequence break. The door requires 4 energy placed into it to open. We only have 2, but one of the effects of leveling up is it refills your energy. So we're going to place 2 energy in the door, kill this frog right next to it, level ourselves up, and gain 2 extra bonus energy to open the door. This bypasses about 4 or 5 minutes worth of backtracking that the game wants us to do, but by doing it this way, we get through and just go straight on to a later area of the game and cut out a lot of stuff we don't want to do. So this area they're in is very dangerous. They can't drop any safety saves because of the fact that they had to spend all of their bonus energy to do that sequence break. So Terra, oh no, Terra unfortunately takes a death there, but he did have a safety save down there. Looks like he got some bonus energy from a random drop and is able to recover fairly quickly, but that is going to put Oshi in the lead. Oshi managed to make it to that energy cell safely, got his save down, and is now dropping into the lower section of Moon Grotto. Now, Oshi's going to be going for a fast cycle here. If he can get this movement very cleanly, he'll get into that. Okay, he doesn't quite make the fast crusher cycle there. If Terra can get it, he will definitely catch up quite a bit of time. He unfortunately does not get his glide over the crystal either. Both of them will miss that cycle, and it's going to be a wash. So Terra will be just a few seconds behind Oshi here as we head into the last section before acquiring the next skill, Double Jump.
Double Jump opens up a lot of opportunities to travel to new places in Ori. And it also allows for faster wall jumping. So if you, in between every wall jump, you can add in a double jump, which speeds up the process little by little.
Yeah, and we had a lead change there. Terra was able to get his ghost door into this area faster, and Oshi struggled with getting it to work a little bit. So Terra was able to overtake Oshi by just a few seconds, but we are borderline tied here. Just maybe 3, 4, 5 seconds, somewhere in that range. You can see because of the cutscene skip we did here, the camera gets glitched out and keeps looking at the tree, so the players had to do some memorized blind movement over some poison water there. Both players handling it just fine. Looks like they didn't have any trouble, and are now going to backtrack their way back out of Moon Grotto and head to our next major area of the game, which is going to be the first dungeon, Ginso Tree. Ginso Tree is an interesting area, has some very challenging movement, but it's where we're going to be acquiring my favorite skill of the game, which is Bash. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to it. Just know that once we get there, this run is really going to turn up the cool factor quite a bit. Both players getting a sequence break called Grotto Skip very quickly there. It's just a very precise little wall jump that allows them to skip a large section off to the left. Neither one of them having any trouble, making it look like it's really just not even a big deal to hop up. That almost looks intended.
So right now you can see both runners doing a quick cutscene skip, which stops boulders from spawning, which makes this climbing section a lot easier.
Yeah, every time I've been in a run and missed that cutscene skip and had boulders, I pretty much just instantly reset because I don't know how to get past those boulders anymore. I know I did it once in the casual playthrough. I literally can't do it anymore.
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
The split is a bit notorious among speedrunners, not because it's dangerous. It's pretty hard to die in this section, but all the little precise wall jumps along those walls you're seeing them do take more practice than you would think. All those little nooks and crannies you see in the wall are actually programmed into the game, and they will affect your momentum and how you interact with the wall. So if you're trying to really optimize this split, you need to have all those little nooks and crannies in the walls memorized and know how you need to jump optimally to interact with them and get up these walls as fast as possible. So it is a very difficult split to get cleanly and get a competitive time on. But both players are doing pretty well at it. And Terra, you can see, headed up to grab this ability cell, which will be used for a later cutscene skip, and headed on to the Ginso tree. We'll be there in about 20-30 seconds. He's going to take a small detour here, pulls this rock out, and is going to go down this little side corridor to activate this teleporter. That's going to be used later, right at the end of the run, to bring us back here. We need to come to an area very close by here to finish the game. So it's worth the short detour now in order to get that teleporter activated for later. One more cutscene skip out of Terra, and he places the key into the Ginso tree, and we'll be entering into our first dungeon. So as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen here from Terra, this dungeon is all about very precarious log jumps like this. He's going to be working his way upwards, just sort of jumping between these narrow, dangerous logs. Has to do a lot of puzzles like this room right here, where he has to try and beat these cycles of little spiky armadillo guys. And unfortunately, looks like he must have taken a death there. I lost restream for just a second, but when we came back, he's back at the entrance to the dungeon again.
There is a second way to do this second room, where you can infinitely jump between the two wall teleporters and make your way all the way up.
Yeah, not a common strategy for the players to choose, just because it's very execution heavy and saves so little time, but some people do go for that. Well, it looks like we got Terra's stream back, and he is just doing a short little puzzle here where he redirects some fireballs. Oshi is in the room right before it and is now pretty much caught up. He's about a cycle and a half behind on these fireballs here. So again, super close race. I'm really impressed with the clean play out of both of these guys. We haven't seen any massive mistakes out of anybody yet. Now Terra is on the Ginso mini boss. This guy has quite a lot of health. It takes a long time to kill him. So any cycles dropped on this guy, anytime you miss shots, it's very punishing, because you have to wait an entire extra cycle for this guy to pop out. But it looks like he's doing a pretty good job so far, plinking away at it. This boss has 5 positions he can spawn in randomly, and you have to just react to it quickly and get over there and get your shots in. There is a very small 1-frame tell that you can look for, but it's even for experienced runners that know exactly what to look for, they miss it sometimes. So good job on him to get a clean fight. Looks like Oshi's fight went pretty well as well. Again, just a few steps behind Terra here, and we'll be headed on to the last few rooms before getting Bash. So Yoko, we can probably go ahead and start talking about what makes Bash so great, since our runners are just about to get to it.
Yeah, so Bash is used in quite a few tricks. Most notoriously, it is used in Sour Bash, but we will not be seeing the runners do Sour Bash, as they are both going for fast stopless. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
So Bash, as you can see from the way that the players are using it now, you grab onto an enemy or projectile, you launch the projectile in one direction, yourself in the other, which makes it a very versatile ability. It can be used both for redirecting enemies and projectiles and for moving yourself around. So you can see the players are doing a short little puzzle here where they need to break some doors with redirected shots here. Terra missing a couple of his shots here, but manages to get through all right. Looks like Oshi got to his Bash tree as well, and is about half a puzzle behind. Terra now on the left-hand side is doing key duplication. Yoko, can you explain key duplication for us?
Alrighty, so as you can see, Terra grabbed 3 keystones. He's going to die and put them right in the door. And when he dies, it'll save the keystones to his inventory. So now he can go collect all 4 again, and he will have a total of 3 keystones leaving Ginso tree.
Yeah, it's basically just a glitch that is going to allow us to collect a total of 7 keys, despite there only being 4 keys on the map. And his duplication looked quite good. Looks like Oshi gets the duplication as well, and now just has to recollect the additional 4 to open the door. So he's about 1 room behind. Terra finishing the second mini boss. Terra, what you doing there, buddy? So in the route that is optimal, looks like he was just giving us a little bit of a laugh. So in the optimal route, you head off to the right here and teleport out instead of doing the Ginso escape. Ginso escape, of course, being a fan favorite, which I would have been happy to see. but it is faster to just teleport out this way and use a glitch to get into the swamp area that the Ginso escape is supposed to bring you to. Terra going upwards there to give us all hope that we'd be seeing the Ginso escape for just a second, but does opt to go for the fastest route. Oshi is teleporting out as well, and we'll get to see both of these runners attempting a now somewhat infamous trick called swamp entry, where they're going to do some blind movement here and then manipulate a frog with bashes into some pretty specific positions to use its fireball shots to break some what we used to think were unbreakable floors to get into swamp and grab the stomp skill, which we'll be getting next. Terra's taking a lot of damage here. He needs to be careful. He can't take anything extra. I think he's pretty low on health right now. Now he's gonna, as you can see, he's using the shots from the frog to break that floor. Now he's gonna need to redirect that shot into the one that's above him and break that one in as well. He's dropping a couple of shots here, giving Oshi a chance to catch up. Oh, and it's a third missed shot here. If Oshi can get this cleanly right away, he will have caught up a lot of ground here. They are pretty much on the same trick here. Terra having a lot of trouble with this.
So there are two ways to do this last part. You can either do this way where the runners bash the projectile twice, or you can bring the frog down here and do a specific setup to make it.
And Terra does get it first, but Oshi is right behind. Definitely caught up a lot of time there. Neither player had a first try or anything. They both had some slip-ups, but Oshi slipped up a little less and is now, just maybe a few seconds behind. And the players are going to do a couple more precision log jumps up here to get up to the stomp tree. Stomp being our next skill. Not one that gets used for anything too particularly flashy. Oh no, Oshi took a death there, but did have a save down. Very fortunately, only lost maybe 10 or so seconds there. But when this race is this close, 10 seconds can be the difference between a win and a loss. He's kicking himself for that. He did take a risky damage boost there and unfortunately paid the cost for it.
Sure.
So to finish my thought from earlier, Stomp, it's not too flashy until we combine it with some skills later, but it is useful for any time we need to move Ori downwards because it gets you to Ori's downward terminal velocity immediately.
Looks like
Terra... Go ahead.
Terra had a little slip up there going into the water. Got to be a little careful here.
Yeah, because we skipped that Ginso escape earlier, we didn't cleanse the water like you're supposed to at the end of that dungeon, which means that any water, no matter how inviting and blue and clear it looks, is actually still poisonous and will damage players as soon as they touch it. So they got to be careful to avoid that here.
Yeah, and that poison water really comes into play during the last escape of the game.
So direct your attention to the left-hand side of the screen. Terra is going for a cutscene skip here. He gets a precise bash on that fireball, and we saw no cutscene, of course, meaning he was successful at that trick. If he had failed, we would be watching a 17-second cutscene, but he got it very well. Now let's take a look at the right. Oshi's going to be going for it as well. He puts the frog into position, tries to inch into a precise spot, and unfortunately misses it. He decides to reload. Okay, no, never mind. He's going to just choose to watch it. You can reload back to that safety save and attempt it again and salvage some of the time save if you get it a second time, but it is risky because if you miss it a second time, you'll have lost not only the time of the cutscene, but also the time to reset it up a second time. So if you're feeling very confident, you can go for it, but I guess Oshi decided, let's just cut my losses and watch the cutscene and try to make up the time later.
So one difference between the runners right now is that Oshi is going to get this hell cell up and to the right of the spider here. Let's give him a little extra safety during the run.
And Terra just grabbed the charge flame ability. Not one we'll really see in the speedrun, but it does unlock the ability to level up our dash into air dash, which, just as it sounds, allows us to use our dash ability once in the air. And that combines really interestingly with bash, because bashing refreshes not only your second jump, but also your air dash. So when combining those things together, we can stay airborne for a very long time by using air dashes and bashes on enemies, and you can get some really cool movement, especially in this area we're in now. You can see Terra is in the starting stages of Valley of the Wind, which is a pretty difficult area. Enemies and spikes are starting to do a lot of damage and has some very demanding platforming to get up through a lot of these tight corridors and navigate through these enemies.
Now that the players have a lot more skills, though, they have a lot more movement options to get through this area.
Looks like the deficit for Oshi at Charge Flame was about 48 seconds, which is wider than it was previously. So that Kuro cutscene difficulty, as well as the time spent to go and get that 5th health cell, did cost him a little bit of time there. but hopefully he can make it up with that extra safety and Sorrow. Now you can see on your left-hand side, Terra is going for a trick called Fast Stompless. He's going to redirect this Fireball towards some rocks that the game wants you to stomp on, but he's going to break it with that Fireball instead. Hopefully he's going to race against that shot to try and get this cell before it hits. And when the Fireball hits, this cutscene begins, teleports Ori into where the game thinks you're supposed to be after stomping those rocks. That's why it was important for him to get to that ability cell before the shot hit, because since it teleports him afterwards, if he had not made it to that cell, he would now be here at the bottom of the valley and have to go all the way back for that cell. Fortunately, he gets it, saves himself a big chunk of time, and will now be moving on to one of the most difficult and imposing tricks in this run called Sorrow Bash. Yoko, you want to talk about Sorrow Bash a little bit?
So Sorrow Bash allows us to skip the second dungeon in the game, Forlorn Ruins, which restores the wind so you can float up using Crow's Feather into Sorrow Pass. But instead we see Terra using his bash to manipulate a bird into a specific spot. Oh, unfortunately kills the bird.
Yeah, his bird got a little out of position there. This is a very precise trick. There are a couple of different methods runners use for it, but essentially the trick is always to sort of bring this bird along with you and allow yourself to juggle through these instant kill spikes. Now, because Oshi took 5 health, he can actually take a hit on the spikes here and survive, and will go to 1 HP. Terra, however, at 4 HP, cannot afford a single slip up here. All these spikes in Sorrow Pass do 4 damage and will be instantly lethal. Terra now on your left-hand side, using the shot from that frog to break the roof, and heading up to the top of Sorrow Pass. Terra opts for no safety saves here. Very, very gutsy play. Terra is watching the restream, so he knows exactly how far ahead he is right now, and is opting to say, I don't need the safety, I'm just going to go for it. Oshi on the right-hand side having a little trouble with Sorrow Bash, but so did Terra, so if Oshi can calm down and get this trick quickly, will not have increased his deficit at all.
So on the left side, you can see Terra using the Save Anywhere here. He's going to carry it all the way over to the right side, where he's going to perform a trick called Terra Break. Can I explain what that is? Bruce?
Yeah, Terra Break is essentially a way where we're going to use the Save Anywhere to get underneath a roof section that we want to break, and save the game by spending a point, and then the game will sort of save your state, and we're going to die while using a skill called Charge Jump, which we just acquired, and the game will load you back in and think you're still charge jumping even though you're mid-air, and it'll allow us to break that roof. Now, Oshi, unfortunately, is having to go for a slightly different setup here to get up to the top and break the roof, because he didn't make it to his cell. He didn't make it to the cell after Fast Stompless, and so he's short on ability points for that Terra Break, and is instead having to go get this frog and bring it upwards to break the roof that Terra was able to use the Terra Break for. This is a slower setup, but it's better than just going and getting backtracking way around and getting the cell again. So unfortunate time loss for Oshi will widen that gap a little bit, but hopefully in the very dangerous last few areas of the game, he can tighten up his play and make up some of this deficit on Terra. Terra just grabbed the Sunstone, which is a key to the very final dungeon of the game. We can't go and end the game just yet, though. There's still a few skills we need to grab. The next one will be in an area called Misty Woods, which is where Terra is heading right now. And it's going to have some very, very beautiful movement now that we've got a lot of our important movement abilities. So you can see a lot of the time now Terra is sort of rushing very quickly forward, and a lot of times it's homing towards enemies. That is due to an upgrade to our dash called Charge Dash. Do you want to enlighten us on how Charge Dash works, Yoko?
Yeah, so Charge Dash allows you to charge up your dash basically and home in on an enemy and basically pretty much teleport to him at pretty fast speeds. And each Charge Dash costs 1 energy, but you can basically cancel out that energy by bashing right as you hit the enemy. So that's what allows the runners to use it so many times there at Misty Woods.
Yeah, and it really opens up the movement possibilities in the late game quite a bit. You can also refund that energy by stomping before the end of the Charge Dash, and then you can cancel out that stomp with a jump, and then do it again, and then stomp again. So you can chain together a lot of this movement very quickly if you have high enough execution to be able to pull it off, which Terra, as such an experienced runner of this game, definitely does. So we'll see some really cool movement out of him.
So you see Terra on the left side going up to one of the last skills of the game, Climb. We're not going to be using it too much throughout the run, but it is used in one final trick in the game.
And Oshi, unfortunately, is having a lot of trouble in Sorrow Pass here. That sort of affectionately known area as it's known affectionately as the Dorito Cavern, Noob Spikes, which is of course a misnomer because it's so easy to die there. Even with the extra health that Oshi has, you really can't slip up at all. And is definitely losing a lot of time to some deaths here. Really needs to calm down and clean up the play at the very end. If Oshi can get maybe a clean Misty Woods that Terra is in right now, and Terra makes a few mistakes, the mistakes in the late game are costly enough that this race is certainly not over yet. But definitely keep your eye on the left-hand side of the screen here for just a real tour de force of all the movement options that this game allows you to have. I know a lot of runners really consider this area their favorite, myself included. This whole section that Terra is on is absolutely the most fun section of the game, for me at least, because you just get to combine all your abilities in such interesting and powerful ways to fly through these areas super quickly.
So it looks like Terra missing a super small skip, but there's a backup for it that only loses 5 seconds.
And there was a mini boss there, but Terra got a very quick kill off that just evaporates them in one cycle very quickly. Nicely done on his part. Doesn't lose any time to that boss fight. If anything goes wrong with the quick kills, it's very easy for that boss fight to just spiral out of control and lose you a bunch of time, or even kill you and make you go way back to a previous safety save. Terra's Misty has been pretty clean overall. Very nicely played on his part. He's coming into basically the last section of the game. He just needs to teleport back to Blackroot Burrows, which we saw earlier in the game. It's going to go quite a bit faster now that he has so many abilities, but he's going to go a little bit deeper into Blackroot and grab the last skill we need, which is Light Grenade, and then he'll move on to end the game. So what's going on with Light Grenade, Yoko?
So Light Grenade allows us to do a thing called grenade jumps, which basically just gives you a huge burst of speed, faster than anything else pretty much. And you can just travel for long distances.
Yeah, there may be a few kind of swag ones that Terra throws in just to show off. There's only one that's absolutely required, and it's, well, not truly required, but it saves about 30-35 seconds at the very end of the game. So at the very bare minimum, you'll see most runners go for that one, but there are a few others that you can throw in that are very cool. But it is a one-frame trick, so it's risky to go for them if you aren't confident in getting them first try. But we'll see what Terra decides to go for.
So we got Terra on the left side getting the last skill, Light Grenade, and now he is ready to go finish the game by going to Mount Horror.
On your right-hand side of the screen, Oshi's Misty has been cleaner than the Sorrow Pass was, but unfortunately still maybe about a minute or two behind. Gets a nice rocket jump off there, though. That's one of my favorite ones in the game through that area. Ooh, Terra takes an unfortunate death over on the left-hand side. Not too bad, though. When you get to a skill tree like that, it saves the game for you. So, you know, just a handful of seconds lost. But Terra is on pretty good pace right here, so any time lost is definitely unfortunate. He wants to walk away with this with as good of a race time as possible. In the event of ties in the group stages, the tiebreaker is determined first by best race time. So being able to put up a better time, even if you win, it's still better to win with a better time than a worse time, because it's going to help your tiebreakers.
So now we have Oshi on the right side making their way out of Misty Woods, and Terra on their way to Mount Horu.
Teleporting to that teleporter we activated earlier before coming into the Ginso tree, conveniently located very close to the final ending area. Now there's an extra health cell here that Terra might take, and looks like he's going for it. This is an extra, not strictly necessary health cell, but there's a long swimming section during the very final portion of the game, and you have to have at least 5 health, which Terra had before that health cell, but it requires very precise swimming to not take a last extra hit on that swimming and die. So opting to grab an extra one, seeing how far ahead he is on the restream, decides 6 health is worth it, only loses a couple seconds to grab it, but for a runner of Terra's experience, it's gonna probably increase his chances of surviving that final swim to 95-99%. So definitely, I think, a good decision in the context of a race here.
So upcoming on the left-hand side, Terra's going to be going for a trick called Door Warp. It gets a first try, which exit out of the game right after you enter Mount Horu. And if it's a one-frame trick, and if you enter or exit Mount Horu on the first frame you load into the game, it teleports you right to the end of the dungeon.
Yeah, sort of an interesting wrong warp trick. It actually works on all the doors in the game, but the one at the Oru door here is really the only one that does anything useful. The other ones just take you to places that don't help out. But Terra now is doing the final escape. This is the last section of the game. He has to avoid all of this lava and all these rocks because he only barely has enough health to survive that swimming section. So any damage from any of this, even if it doesn't directly kill him, will essentially be lethal because he can't afford to take that damage and still get through the swimming section here. But he avoids all those obstacles quite deftly, is now in the poison water, looks pretty good on his movement so far, gets out with no troubles, and manages to jump over a trigger there that spawns Kuro, gets over it, and is now attempting the final grenade jump. You'll see him get on the wall, aim this jump, and throw a grenade, and then try to jump on the very first frame afterwards. Gets through, and that grenade jump gets him over half of the final cutscene, so it'll save him about 35 seconds. Nicely done second try grenade jump there. And Terra essentially has won this race. All he has to do is just hold right until the very final input of the game. So congratulations to Terra for taking this win. Very nicely done race. As the higher seed, not necessarily unexpected, but it was this race was close enough that it definitely could have been anybody's game. Unfortunately, just a few slip-ups from Oshi, particularly in Sorrow Pass, widened that gap up too much for him to be able to catch up. But still, good time from Oshi. Terra is going to be finishing up with a low 33 here. Definitely a solid time that's going to be hard for anybody to beat. So definitely both of these runners should hold their head up high. So let's take a look on the right-hand side. Oshi's going to be going for his door warp here. Let's see if he can keep up with first try like Terra had. Gets it first try. Very nice from Oshi. Good work.
Good.
And now Oshi has to attempt the final escape as well. Final escape is an interesting area, I think. It sort of seems to go through phases for runners. It's when you play it casually, the final escape is really difficult. Players die all the time, and then you sort of practice enough to do the speed run, and it seems pretty easy. But then once you start trying to optimize it again, it can sort of become hard once again. And players, sometimes will just, in the middle of a run, they'll just die like 5 or 6 times in a row in the final escape. So hopefully Oshi can avoid that fate and get through this nice and cleanly and walk out of here with a respectable race time.
Oshi come up to the swimming section. We'll see if he can get through it.
Now Oshi has 6 health as well, so has that little bit of buffer of safety. Gets through it just fine. Very nicely done. Skips the Kuro cutscene trigger and is now coming up to his grenade jump as well. See how he can do here. Lines it up. That position looks a little low. There is risk with this trick. If you are in the wrong position on that wall when you do this, the game can soft lock and require you to do the entire final escape again. And Oshi's position is scaring me a little bit. Looks like a little bit on the low side. Okay, that one looks pretty good. Having some trouble getting the trick, though. This is very precise timing. It is true 1/60th of a second timing. And gets through without a soft lock. Very nice from Oshi. We'll just be having to hold right for about another 30-35 seconds. So good job to Oshi and Terra. Well done, both of you. So with that definitely has big implications for this group. This was in some ways sort of expected to be sort of the fight for first seed in this group because the two of them are the first and second ranked players in their group. So if Oshi had taken the win here and was already 1-0, that would have been a very, very good sign for Oshi coming in out of this group in first place. Terra, this being his first match, if he can get the win, able to get the win against Oshi, if he can take the win against the other two racers, both of which have slower PBs than Oshi, will be expected to walk away with that first seed as well. So important race to win, and Terra was able to come up with the win. So well done. Looks like Terra got a final time of 33:08 and Oshi with a 35:48. So both very respectable, solid times. When you're playing in a tournament like this and you have all these people watching you and you know you only have one shot at it, it is very, very different than just, basic PB attempts in your own home where you're comfortable and you know that you can always reset. So good job to both of them. And we'll have to see if we can get an interview with Terra after he's finished with his getting everything set up and finish now that he's done with his race. So, Yoko, is there anything about this race that stood out to you? Something that you found particularly exciting or notable?
Honestly, it was just a clean performance throw. I was surprised. Not too many big mistakes from both runners, but that's expected because they are pretty top tier.
Yeah, these are both two very experienced runners, and I think probably the biggest mistakes we saw out of them. Oshi, of course, having the difficulties in Sorrow, but from Terra, it was really, I think the biggest mistake was probably having some difficulties with Swamp Entry. That probably cost him close to a minute or so. So if he had, managed to avoid that, a 32:08 would be a very competitive time. One of the better race times put up by anybody so far. So, even a 33:08 is still quite strong. But yeah, that just goes to show how difficult this game is. Even a runner of Terra's quality who has run this at HDQ still has trouble with tricks every time. All right, looks like we're trying to get some interviews set up with the runners here, and we're just trying to get them into our voice chat, and we'll get some talks with them. But while we're waiting for that, let's talk about what we have coming up later in the day. Very right after this, we're going to have Staffu versus Delira, which is one of my most anticipated matches for today. Staffu and Delira are both very fast runners. Staffu has a little bit of advantage in terms of how much of a veteran he is, and a little bit of advantage in terms of PB. But Delira has learned this game so fast and has just improved like crazy, and is definitely capable of pulling out the win there. So that's going to be an important match in terms of how the bracket's going to play out. And that's going to be happening right after this. So there's you guys can just stick around and watch that. Going to have a good time. Is there anything going on later today, Yoko, that you're particularly excited about?
There actually happens to be. We have a rematch. Well, not really a rematch, but between me and Siki, as we were originally supposed to play on the opening night, but we had some technical difficulties, so that should be interesting later.
Very much so. That's going to be cool. Looks like we've got Terra and Oshi here in voice chat and ready for interviews. Terra, how's it going? Congratulations on your win.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ruth. How are you guys doing?
Doing quite well. Thank you for putting on such a good performance for us. That was really entertaining.
It's very sketchy. The first sample run was all I have to say is thank you for that Frunky energy drop in the Def Gauntlet.
Oh my goodness, that was so lucky. I actually didn't see him drop it. I was amazed when you.
Oh man. Yeah.
So my question for you, Terra, relates to the fact that you ran this quite recently at AGDQ. Do you feel like having run the game at a stage like that had any effect on your performance here today?
No, I was still nervous. It didn't help at all. I was watching Oshi's stream, the restream, and I just saw Oshi constantly on my heels, and I saw both of us going at the swamp at the same time and got really spooked.
Yeah, it was so close up until midway through Sorrow Pass. It was really, really, really good.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Oshi if he died a bunch, because I was trying to focus on Misty and Sorrow.
Yeah, I had some Dorito Cavern difficulties.
Oh, no.
So, Yoko, you got any questions for Terra?
Did that Death Gauntlet death really affect your mindset on the race?
Yeah, it really threw me off because I was just thinking, oh my god, what if that energy never dropped? I'd be back at the dash train. I was just, it really kind of messed me up a bit. Well, we're okay.
All right, looks like we've got Oshi here as well. Oshi, how are you doing? Good job on your race. Thank you for putting up a respectable time and a good showing for us. How are you doing today?
Yo, thanks. I'm doing pretty well. GG Terra. Beat my PG, so I don't think I was going to win anyways.
Unless you
Hey, that was anybody's race there for quite a while, Oshi. You were right on his heels the whole way. So, I guess, Oshi, my question for you, were you watching the race restream? Did you know what the pace was like, or were you just kind of doing your own thing?
I was watching Terra's stream.
Okay, so you knew you were right on his heels the whole way then.
Yeah, I was like, Terra, please mess up.
Yeah, especially with Swamp Entry, that you guys were tied there, and it pretty much just came down to who was going to get the trick first. That was really exciting.
Yeah, I've had some real trouble with that. I'm not sure what happened. My literally cheating mouse wheel bind just stopped. It just wasn't doing it. I'm not actually sure what was happening there. Yo, look at that group. I lost.
Wow, what a group. Nobody's taken any wins yet. So it looks like
We're all equally bad.
looks like we have some issues with our win-loss ratio there. Those stats are not accurate. So don't go by that. But this group still has quite a few matches to play, so we could see quite a bit of developments happen here as the races continue. So Yoko, you got any questions for Oshi?
I do. What was going through your mind when you were dying in Sorrow Pass?
Yeah, you know, Dorito caves. Everything happens. I knew by then, since I already missed Fast Stomp list that, I was far behind, so it was just trying to play fast.
All right, then. So thank you so much to both of our runners for the interview and for the very entertaining race. So,
Great job.
looking forward to our next race with Stefu versus Delira. Going to be a really exciting race, and we'll be coming to you at the top of the hour, so just about 10-15 minutes. So stick around, don't go anywhere. That one's going to be a super entertaining match as well. So until then, I've been the Roos is Loose.
I'm Yoko.
Thank you so much for watching, guys.
See you.